So you can see here, this is more than 50 games I have listed on my spreadsheet. This is 66 games. Yeah, it's a lot. So not everything on here is going to go on the list. But I thought, fuck it. Let's see where I am now. Let's see where I am as of right now. Afternoon burning. Is it morning or afternoon for me? It's 3 o'clock, so it's afternoon. It's also raining outside. Good old Britain. Nice British aesthetics. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna fucking rate my top 50 favorite games of all time. I've put down a whole bunch of games that I really like here on these sheets, on this spreadsheet, and I'm gonna try and order them. And like I say, there's more than 50, so a few of them are gonna be honorable mentions. The hard thing about a list like this is that, like, I know what my top 10 are, right? I know what my, like, top 50 and top 20 are. But I'm trying to start at the top, or the bottom, whatever. I'm trying to start at 50. And, like, off the bat, I don't know. Who the fuck knows what their 50th favourite game is, right? Add 3 more to the list. I know what you're doing, Delta. I'm not stupid. I know I put 66 on there. I'm not going to do that. I avoided it intentionally so that people wouldn't joke about it in chat. And yet here I am. Clearly it's futile. So fuck, man. Like, what goes at the number 50 spot? Like I say, any game you see here, you can rest assured is a game that I really like. You know? These are all games that I think are very good. But 50 is like a game that I like. You know? It was good. The Tropical Freeze video was one of my favourites. It was so jam-packed. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my favourites. I think it's maybe the funniest video I've made yet. A lot of people seem to agree. Mario Kart 7. Dude, I think Mario Kart 7. We'll talk about the games when I get to them, but like Mario Kart is one of those franchises where, because it's a new one so often, except for lately, no one ever really like pinpoints one as like one of the best games of its kind, actually. But I really like 7. I think 7's fucking excellent. Are you making this top 50 as you go, or have you laid it out already? I'm making it as I go. Like I say, I know in my head, like off by heart, what like my top 10, 15 are, but top 50, I don't know. So there's a few games here that stand out to me immediately as like 50 territory, you know? I'm looking at Crash 4, Animal Crossing New Leaf, yeah. I was thinking this before I started the list. I think I know what 50 is. Looking at this list. I think number 50, and this game would probably be higher. A lot of these lower ones are like ones that would be higher if I got to play them more. But for now, and this is subject to change. I can change it as I go. For now, my 50 is actually Wii Sports Resort. Wii Sports Resort, we can all agree, is kind of a banger, right? No Bloodborne. I haven't played Bloodborne now. Someone was asking me about Persona 2, I think, earlier on. I haven't played Persona. I'm not a big JRPG guy, as you know. Wii Sports Resort slaps. The Wii Sports games are like some of the most unintentionally funny games ever made, right? And maybe it's intentional, I don't know. Something about Mii's is just fucking funny. I think about the fencing in Wii Sports Resort, where there's like, for some reason, there's a big like arena suspended over water, and you and some other Mii are just kind of just fucking at each other. Oh, it's so funny. It's such a funny game. Table tennis in Wii Sports Resort is great fun. Did this have like a... I feel like Wii Sports Resort had like a Pilot Wings kind of spin-off mode, didn't it? Am I going crazy? Oh shit, Task Clue donated $5. I cannot make out that donation message. Congratulations on moving out. I'm sure it'll be awesome. Hope this helps. Love your... Oh my god, I'm sorry. On the white background, that was so hard to read. I didn't think about that at all. It seemed like a really nice message. Thank you a lot. I do really, really appreciate that, Task Clue. Thank you. I definitely will watch the VOD back and like pause it so I can properly read through that. Thank you a lot. Yeah, anyone else in chat played Wii Sports Resort? That seems to have a lot of Wii Sports Resort fans, which is a shame because if you missed out on this game, then you missed out on some absolute banner. Very funny game, and like I say, I would have played it more. I didn't really like the Wii as a console. I just didn't like motion control. I just thought it was a silly gimmick, and so in that console generation, I definitely played a lot more Xbox 360. Thank you for the follow, Tasker, as well. But Wii Sports Resort was one of those games where like motion control actually really worked and was really funny. Table tennis was really good. Table tennis and fencing are the two. Yeah, sword play, whatever it is. Yeah, those are the two that come to mind. But I do seem to remember like a Pilot Wings spin-off mode that was really cool. Yeah. Okay. And that's, again, these are subject to change. So I might reorder them because I've got 66 games here. And for now, wherever Wii Sports Resort is, I'll kind of delete it so you can see it gone. 49. And by the way, while I'm curious as to you guys' predictions. Like, what is there anything that stands out to you as like? Is there anything you're looking at here that is like really weird to you, or like you're like really surprised by it? Anything that you think will be really high? You're like, oh, there's a high one, or like there's a low one, or there's one that's probably not actually going in the top 50. I like how Base Sports and Resort share some characters. Yeah, Matt, do you guys remember? I don't want to spoil too much, but I have plans to do a video about Matt from Wii Sports Resort, who's kind of become like a figure of legend. He's the final boss of the sword play. He's like an unstoppable fucking sword master. He's just a guy called Matt. Yeah, sorry, bad Trick Room player, yeah. Has brought it up in chat. Matt is like a figure of legend, and I wanted to try and do a video like deciphering his origins. You know, like trying to figure out who he is, where he comes from. Spoiler alert, the conclusion is that he's Mace Windu. That's a little stream exclusive for you there. 49. Honestly, I think these early stages are going to be harder than like the later stages. You know? Because, like I say, I know what games I love. These are the games I like well enough. But there's a couple standing out to me. Hearthstone? Hearthstone's a very interesting one. We'll get there when we get there, if we do. Okay. Here I'm gonna put... I'm actually gonna put Snake Pass here. Snake Pass, I've obviously talked about it in a video pretty recently, in my own way. It's a game that like, you know, it's very hard to talk about. I wouldn't say it's like hugely replayable, or it's not like a, you know, it's not got the same appeal as like Breath of the Wild or a Smash Bros or something, you know. But it's a really fucking cool game. It's a proof of concept. It's something that I find really fundamentally fun, despite being seemingly intentionally not fun. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate Snake Pass. It's not a game I would play all day, and if you gave me the option to go back to play a whole bunch of other games, I'd definitely pick them before I pick Snake Pass. But I have a real affinity for it. I respect it, I appreciate it, and I like it. I don't know if you guys heard, the makers of Snake Pass, Sumo Digital, recently got bought out by Tencent, the big Chinese company. Weird. Dishonored is a great game, but so is Dishonored 2. Any reason why that's not on the list? I prefer Dishonored 1 over Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 bothers me. I don't dislike it. I still like it, but Dishonored 2, it has some really cool, interesting level ideas. But at the same time, almost every level in Dishonored 2 feels like a gimmick. There's very few, like, straightforward, just do the stealth, just do the cool Dishonored stuff in Dishonored 2. Whereas in Dishonored 1, it's like all like that, almost. I just prefer Dishonored 1. Also, when I bought Dishonored 2, I had a game-breaking bug that stopped me from killing the final boss. That was fun. The final boss was unkillable for me, so I technically never finished it, even though I made it to the final boss. So that put a bad taste in my mouth. Why is Mario Hoops 3-on-3 on here? Because it slaps? We'll talk about it. We'll get there. It will be on here. 48. Okay. This might surprise some people. I'm actually, for now, I'm going to put Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour. I very much doubt many people in chat have played this one. Because obviously there's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Games and whatnot, and anime games. Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour is really cool. It's a DS game. It's like late into the era of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series and just before GX. And it's just a really cool game where you like you have like kind of this overworld map, and you go and face people, and you can rematch them, and they have different decks, and there's a story that's kind of adjacent to the anime. There's a lot of freedom in the decks you can build in Nightmare Troubadour, because there's a card shop, and there's tons of different kinds of packs you can buy. There's a lot of customization. You have like a lot of freedom in the way you play. It's been a long time since I played it, so there's not a lot of like specific details I can give to you. Oh shit, Sarcastrus of 415. Let me change tab so I can read that message. Fuck, I can't have time. And it seems, I'm sorry, Sarka, I have no... Go to the... Oh, fuck, I have Hearthstone open in Twitch for some reason. I'm sorry, I'm a fucking idiot, and I did not think about how hard it would be to read donation messages over a white background. If you want to type to me what you said, Sarcastrus, I will read it. But thank you very much for the 415, I really appreciate that. Also, yes, Delta, I'd say is a bit bad. Tencent is kind of shady. They're a bit scary. They're kind of like Disney in that they just keep growing and expanding, and it's a bit scary. Anyway, yeah, to be honest, there's not a ton I can say to you about Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour, just that I have good experiences with it, and I have a good memory of it, and I remember it being like a good game. And that's just kind of that. 47... I think I will put... Whoop. You guys played this? How many people in chat have played Crash 4? This is a really interesting one. Crash 4, I grew up with the original Crash trilogy. I have a lot of nostalgia for those games. And I've come to realise that as much nostalgia as I have for Crash 3 in particular, I never liked Crash 2 that much, and Crash 3 kind of bothers me in my old age now, because there's a lot of bad levels in Crash 3, right? Like the plane levels and the speedboat levels and fucking whatever else. And Crash 4 is much more like Crash 1, in that there's a lot less gimmicks and silliness. Oh, you've played it, Aiken Labs. Sorry, is that Aiken Labs or Chin Labs? Either way, yes, it is a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. It's definitely one of the better Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. If Crash 4 came out when I was like 16 or 17, I would have gone fucking buck wild over it. I would have gone insane. You know, like that would have been one of the most exciting game announcements ever for me. But having been 23 when I played it and when it came out, not only did it, one, feel like it was a bit too late for them to finally do Crash 4, I can't help but feel like there just wasn't as much fanfare around it as you would have expected. Does anyone else feel like Crash 4 did not get the attention you would have expected? Like, it didn't... You play the game, and the game's animation and visuals are unbelievable. CS Shimming, congratulations, your amazing taste. The visuals are unbelievable, but some of the production and presentation almost feels a bit underfunded. Like, maybe the budget wasn't there. Like, there was a few bugs, and there's very long loading screens. Some textures kind of loaded in funny, and I don't know. The biggest thing that holds Crash 4 back from being amazing for me, anyone who's played Crash 4 will know this. Crash 4 is a significantly better game if you just play through the campaign and fucking leave it there. if you try and 100% this game, if you try and 100% even a few levels, you'll learn to hate it. Crash 4 is one of the most obnoxiously stupid, hard games. Is it just me, or is the stream buffering a bit sometimes? Is it buffering for you guys? Because it does still say I'm dropping frames on OBS, and it is a bit concerning to me. I can try and restart again, but it seems we've had bad weather, so maybe that's done something to the internet. Either way, this will be going up as a VOD on the Extra Fudj YouTube channel, so keep that in mind. Yeah, Crash 4 is one of the most obnoxious games you could ever possibly try in 100%. It's just, they hide boxes in stupid places that no human being would ever check. Like, well and truly out of sight, out of mind, that no one would ever do. It's just not fun. It's not fun to try 100%. Play through it, have a good time, play through the main campaign, and then leave it there. Because 100% of this game is actually kind of lame, especially when, to do so, you would basically have to play through every level like 6 times, because there's a different version of every level, which is inverted. But most of them are just art style changes, which I should have gone in on a bit more in the video I made back in the day, but it is what it is. I like Crash 4, but it wasn't quite as, it wasn't quite as amazing as I thought it could have been or should have been. It just feels like people didn't care about this game as much as they should have, and that upsets me a little bit. Makes me a little bit sad. Yeah, I don't like Dragon Ball Z. I think it's a bad series. I think it's badly written. Whoops, I accidentally opened handbrake. Didn't mean to do that. I just don't think very highly of it all, and I've said this before. Oh, I did forget to remove Yugo from the pool, yeah. And I need to get rid of this as well, I guess. But I'll say this, the Dragon Ball Z games are just fun. They are fun. They're really fun. And I had the original 3 Budokai games. I had a friend who used to live near me who had them, and we used to play them all the time on PS2. And it was great fun. Just messing around as casuals. They had like cool stories and campaigns and whatnot. Budokai Tenkaichi is the one where you have like free flight. It's like fully 3D, and you're like this huge arena, and you can fly around the maps and shit. And it's actually really fucking cool. It's really fun. Had like a big in-depth story, even though the story was stupid, because Dragon Ball Z is stupid. And the soundtrack, as they have for literally every Dragon Ball Z game, absolutely slapped. Although, I don't know if you guys have heard the controversy, but I think the guy who made the soundtrack for Tenkaichi and a lot of the other Budokai games got in some legal trouble, because he was accused of plagiarism. He was accused of plagiarizing this band. I think it was Stratovarius, who are like kind of a big like high concept Finnish metal band. And if you listen to it, I'm sure there's some videos about it, but if you listen to a lot of Stratovarius' music, a lot of their biggest songs, and then hold it against quite a lot of the music from the Budokai games, there's definitely some plagiarism going on. There's definitely like some stolen riffs and just like stolen musical sequences. It's very dodgy, and it's a shame because I really like the music, but it's plagiarized. Hey Liz, I'm good, thank you. Apart from some connection issues we're apparently having, the internet does not seem to be very good at my place today, on account of I don't know what. I just hope that at least some people are getting it without the buffering, but yeah, if it doesn't sort itself out soon, I'm going to fix it. Anyway, there you go. This is ukulele music, yes. Yeah, that's 46. That's Budokai Tenkaichi. As much as I dislike having to put a Dragon Ball Z game on there. Alright. 45. 45, 45, 45. This is also kind of between 2 for me, I think. I'm looking quite intensely at my list. Yeah. No, I don't know. The game I've got in mind I think is a bit better than 45. I think it needs to go... Oh, you know what? Here we go. Here's one. Yeah. Animal Crossing New Leaf, I think is like actually a really good game, and almost definitely like the best Animal Crossing game. I've never gotten Animal Crossing to the same extent a lot of my friends have. I've never really like truly gotten into it as much. I just can't. You know, the whole idea is like you play it for a little bit every day, and I'm like, that's Farmville. I'm like, that's a mobile game, you know, like. But New Leaf being on the 3DS, I think made that a lot more stomachable. I think Animal Crossing should be a portable series. I know that's controversial. I don't think it really belongs on home consoles. New Leaf is just the best one. It has the most content, has the most charming stuff in it. It totally works on 3DS. You know, New Horizons in so many ways feels like a step back because there's less villager dialogue in New Horizons as opposed to New Leaf. There's less items. I think there's less villagers overall. They still haven't got Brewster in New Horizons, and you know there was little to none of that like add shit on later stuff in New Leaf. It was just all kind of there from jump. You're the mayor. You kind of build installations in your little town and add all the stuff to it, and it had like a similar sense of progression to what New Horizons has. Only you didn't have to wait for all the stuff to be added. All the stuff was there. Just a good game. I think it's the best Animal Crossing game. And even though it's never truly resonated with me to the same extent that like Animal Crossing has with so many other people, yeah, I still like it a lot. I think it was good. I'm a weirdo that played no Animal Crossing games between Wild World and New Horizons. Did I mess out on a lot? Well, between Wild World and New Horizons was City Folk, which I heard wasn't that good, and New Leaf, which is the best. So, kinda, I guess. 44. I was taking a piss and I had a piss thought, and I was like, I know exactly what 44 is. It's so funny to put this game directly after Animal Crossing New Leaf, but yeah, 44 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This game in 2009 was all that literally every boy at any school in the country wanted to fucking talk about. This game was fucking crazy in 2009. Everyone was about it. Everyone fucking wanted Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This was the game that I associate with what's the word, like culture shock or whiplash. Going from having a GameCube and loving Nintendo games to the next gen, everything that wasn't Nintendo was suddenly shooters and army men and all this shit. And I had no interest in getting Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, but I basically got peer pressured into it by a bunch of friends at school. Because it was like, have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or don't be cool. Be uncool. And I very reluctantly bought it. And to be honest, I had some good times with it. You know, I actually have. It was toxic. It was obviously toxic as fuck. But you know, playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 back in the day with my friends online was fun. Like Search and Destroy, which is like elimination mode. You got 2 teams of 5 who have to disarm a bomb in the middle of the map, and if you die, you're eliminated for that round. And it ends when either one team is entirely wiped out or someone plants the bomb. It's good. There's like a lot of alternative game modes you could play by like setting up lobbies and altering the rules and doing like there's a mode called Mike Myers. I don't know if anyone ever played Mike Myers in Call of Duty, but that shit's fun as hell, where you have like 7 or 8 guys on one team and one guy on another team, and the big team are not allowed to like fight back. The Mike Myers, who is the one person alone in the other team, is only allowed to use his knife or throwing knives, and he has to like wipe out the entire enemy team in a time limit. Only when he gets down to the last person, then the last person can fight back as well, and they can knife him back. So tense, because also the person playing, who is Mike Myers in the team, is muted and you can't hear them. So you as the team are just kind of bantering about, you know, walking about the map, doing your business, and then all of a sudden someone in your team starts screaming and panicking over the mic because they've bumped into Mike Myers and he's fucking slaughtering everyone, and as soon as you get killed, your voice gets cut off. So good. So fucking good. So tense. Some of the maps in Modern Warfare 2 are honestly sick. High Rise, comes to mind. Obviously, Rust is basically a meme at this point. Man, High Rise, Rust, I remember Favela. Terminal, there's a plane in the airport. Yeah, it's still COD. It's everything you think COD's going to be. The campaign is army men doing army men shit, but it was a bit interesting, and multiplayer was really fun. I had some good times at Modern Warfare 2. There was cops and robbers as well, but I can't stay on one game for too long. There's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And then I think it's this game I've been putting off for a while. But is it? Hang on, is it? It's a game I've been putting off for like 4 entries in a row now. That has to come down here somewhere. But it's really good. And I don't know if it's... I mean, this isn't like... You know, this isn't a list of the best games I've played. This is a list of my favourites. And so I think that'll be 42. I think there's one more game kind of below it. Maybe even 2, actually. For now... putting Owlboy on here. For anyone who tuned in, I actually streamed Owlboy earlier this year. I finished it on stream. Yeah, Ghost, obviously. I'm not going to give you a spoiler warning, but there's actually a pretty sick plot twist in Modern Warfare 2 where like one of your closest allies turns on you and kills not only like a side character called Ghost, but also one of the player characters. It's General Shepard. He fucking turns on you and shoots you both, and it's actually kind of nuts. It's a pretty sick twist, honestly. Anyway, yeah, Owlboy was dope. I said a lot of what I had to say about Owlboy while I was playing it, and that it's fucking gorgeous. An absolute feat of like visual and graphic design. I mean, what a world, you know, what a soundtrack. For an indie game, it was made over like 7 years. Yeah, I would delete Owlboy from the pool. Yeah, like, it was made over like 7 years, and you can see, because it's like well and truly like painstakingly realized. It's incredible. It's really good. It didn't really have. I'm trying to think of what its flaws were, and it didn't have a lot. The controls felt a bit unwieldy sometimes, and some of the little set piece sections could be a bit unfun, but it's nice and breezy as well. You know, you finish it in like 7-8 hours. Oh, there was a couple of story moments that kind of tripped me up, and I was like, oh, this doesn't really make sense. So, like, why are the characters doing this? But it was very minor, considering like it was actually still quite a well-written game. A lot of indie games have bad writing. You realise this, right? Like, a lot of indie games, because they don't have the resources or money to hire writers, and most people making indie games are programmers, and they're good at text and stuff, and they don't really get writing. But it was actually pretty well written, mostly. Yeah, great game. I loved Owlboy. Maybe I've played it like it hasn't been long enough since I've played it for it to like, what's the word, ferment in my mind, and for it to really sink in. You know, when it's been a while, it grows fonder, and I only finished it this year, so it's kind of hard to like instantly make such an impression. Then again, there is another game I finished this year that's going to be very high on the list that you'll see later on. Yeah, Owlboy 43. And I know what 40. I'm pretty sure I know what 42 and 41 are. 42. I've been having a lot of fun watching one of my friends stream this recently. Has anyone played Darkest Dungeon? This game bends you over its knee and spanks the fuck out of you. This game will spank your ass. Darkest Dungeon is really punishing, intentionally brutal. And I kind of love it. I love like card games and stuff. I actually never finished it because it was too... I was like, I can't sink the time into finishing this. It definitely does get a bit grindy and a bit, oh, got to do this all over again. But that's the point, you know. And if you're not ready for something like that, then you shouldn't play it. It's like a turn-based RPG. The aesthetic and the vibe this game has, it's like dark medieval fantasy. There's like a narrator who like speaks throughout the game and kind of comments on what you're doing, and his lines of dialogue, his voice, you need to listen to the Darkest Dungeon narrator, man. It's like the best narrator a video game has ever had. He has this amazing like H.P. Lovecraft like eldritch fiction dialogue. The way he talks is just so sick. He'll like talk over you getting like a critical hit, or when someone dies. There's obviously the sanity system. Characters in your party go insane. there's like a sanity system where certain things do like sanity damage to your party members, and when they go over a certain threshold, their resolve is tested, and 80% of the time they develop like personality quirks and habits that like negatively affect them, like kleptomaniac, they become addicted to stealing, or God-fearing or violent and all this stuff. Sometimes you get lucky and their resolve is tested and they get like a positive attribute out of it, of like being braver or stronger or whatever. Yeah, it's a good game. It's a bit repetitive and a bit grindy, especially towards the end, but that's kind of the point. If you're not ready to get your ass beat and have to do stuff over and over again, then you shouldn't play it. What's up, High Speed? Not much, to be honest. We've had a lot of connection issues, and I imagine it's made a lot of people tune out, which is unfortunate. But I've sorted it out. It's all okay. We're not dropping any frames. I've just had to lower my bitrate, and it's all fixed now. So hopefully people will come back and see that we're still going, because we are in fact still going. Props to people who stuck around. Thank you for whoever remained patient with me. That's very special. I'm expecting other CODs in here. Looking at one per franchise, my dude. COD's just not for me. I mean, it's it's like the generic shooter. So Modern Warfare 2 is my favourite COD. I liked Black Ops as well, I guess. But Black Ops had zombies, which is pretty much what carried it for me. Okay. And yes, 41. It says here in the rules, one per franchise unless it's a spin-off which plays very differently. So you can see I've got A Link Between Worlds and Breath of the Wild here, because I think those two games are like different enough that you can class them differently. You know, I've got Crash 4 and Crash Team Racing. So, yeah. Anyway, 41 is just one I've been putting off for a while because I think it deserved to be higher, and I think this is a good place for it. It could still even go up. Pikmin 3, baby. I'm weird. I played Pikmin 1, but I skipped out on Pikmin 2. And I couldn't tell you why. I just never got Pikmin 2. But when the Wii U came about and there was fuck all games for it, you know, I mean, why not get Pikmin 3, right? And as it turns out, Pikmin 3 was sick. Pikmin 3 is a great game. it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It worked really well on the Wii U with the gamepad. I love the giant fruit, carrying back giant fruit and whatnot, and the 3 different controllable characters works really well. It felt like a very elegant evolution of Pikmin, where it's a management game, right? That's what it is. It's a management game. And so for you to go from Olimar and managing your Pikmin in Pikmin 1 to then go to Pikmin 3, where you're managing 3 different people, each managing their own separate armies of Pikmin, it's cool. It makes a lot of sense. You know, it's complicated. It adds a layer of depth. Rock Pikmin and Flying Pikmin were really cool. I really like them. More than anything, I love the levels in this game. I remember, do you guys, whoever's played it, I think 9 fans out of 10 would tell you Pikmin 2 is the best, but I really love 3 as well when it came to Switch. Really, I've not heard as many good things about Pikmin 2. I've heard a lot of people who seem kind of split on it. It's interesting. Yeah, like, what's the level? I know the boss was like a big bee, or like a beehive thing. Was it Twilight River or something? Twilight Lake? I remember that level in particular being like gorgeous. And like, wow, this looks so nice. I also remember the ice level, which I think is like the second level of the game, being kind of hard. Like, I remember getting tripped up at a few points. Twilight River, I think that was it, yeah, Twilight River. Also, Pikmin 3 felt a bit less punishing than Pikmin 1. Pikmin 1, you could get quite far into the game and then be like, right, well, I'm fucked. I stand no chance. There goes my entire playthrough. You know? Whereas it feels like that's less of an issue in Pikmin 3. It's a bit more lenient without being like completely trivial. And I appreciate that. So yeah, Pikmin 3 is really good. For Mario, is 2D and 3D or sandbox and linear different enough to be on here separately? To be honest, there would not be a 2D Mario in my top 50. So even if there was, it wouldn't change anything, you know. I've just never been impressed with 2D Mario. If you count Mario Maker, then maybe. But, you know, I was debating whether or not there'd be a Mario Party in the top 50. I decided against it eventually, but I was thinking about it. You know? That's a follow. Chub5 has great tastes. Congratulations, Chub5. Alright, 40. We're about to be through our first 10. There's a couple that are sticking out to me. Okay. Yeah. So I think someone was asking earlier what this game even is. I did it a bit wrong. For those of you who've never played Trials HD, it's frankly a game that's very unlike me. It's like a 2D... it was like a big indie game that kind of sprung up around 2009, I think. It's basically a 2D physics-based like motorbiking game, and that sounds really uninspired and really silly. But not only is it really fun in like a silly kind of Happy Wheels kind of game where they put ridiculous challenges in front of you. You know, there's like a level where you literally just drive up like the steep side of a mountain, and you've just got to like perfectly like wheel back. It being 2D makes it like so simple and so like arcadish fun. But what's really crazy about Trials HD was the user generated content. It is really gosh darn tough. Yeah, that's it. The biking challenge course game. Very hard. When you get to like super expert levels, some of the shit the game asks you to do is just preposterous. Also, I haven't done that in all caps. Hang on. Let me fix that. Yeah. So this, I can't remember what it's called, but this had like a custom level maker. And it was fucking crazy. The shit you could make in Trials HD was insane. Even for 2009, that felt very ahead of its time. And the stuff people were making like horror games out of Trials HD's custom thing. You could change the lighting of the level to completely black out and just have like red lights that light up as soon as you go past them, and they could create out of course parts like a mechanized golem that they would have to like puppeteer through the use of glue physics and the physics engine to like move after you. It was just crazy. I never fully got it. You needed an actual like borderline scientific understanding of physics to really know how to like make some stuff in Trials HD's level editor work. But the people who knew how to do it were making some absolutely crazy shit with it. You know? Good game. Really good game. I played Trials Evolution, the sequel to it, and didn't like it as much. But for 2009, the stuff you could do with this game was insane. It was more impressive as like a user-generated content factory than as a motorbiking game. And even then, it was still quite fun. More of a physics thing than anything, you know? I'd compare it a bit to Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Okay, that's our first 10 done. The stream is fixed, thank God. I hope most of the people who left have come back. 39. There's a couple that are standing out to me here. I don't want to say them out loud because I don't want to spoil where certain games are going to be on the list, you know. Give me a moment while I deliberate. Yeah. I'll go Luigi's Mansion. Just a fun, neat little package, you know, really different. There's nothing else like Luigi's Mansion, is there? Right? You can't even really give it a genre. I guess it's a puzzle game. This game is like very compact. It's very focused. It's really short, and I like that. You can just kind of boot in, have a good time. There's so many intangibles about this game. So many charming little touches, like the way that Luigi calls out Mario's name, the animation where he touches the doorknob to turn the door. So I think they do some like funny little tricks of mirrors and stuff in this game. There's a whole lot of charm in Luigi's Mansion, and even if it's not like an amazing game in terms of like its ambition, it's really different, and it does a lot of cool, neat little stuff that I really appreciate. It is the definition of a neat game. Yeah, the portrait ghosts were really cool. I remember, like, this was the first game to make me, like, feel smart as a kid. I remember I figured out, I think there's, like, what's the one? There's, like, some statues or, like, some models or toys late into the game. What are the last portrait ghosts? I remember that there's a room with, like, 3 or 4 of them in the same room. And you have to kind of solve some kind of puzzle with them. I remember figuring it out for myself as a kid for the first time. And feeling really proud of myself. And getting that portrait ghost. It was really good, like, puzzles for kids that weren't obnoxiously obvious, you know? Made you actually feel smart for solving them. Cool stuff. Big fan. And as I've said, I didn't really like 2 as much. And, yeah. 3, I didn't play. I can see 1, 2, 3... 4. Okay, yeah. I can see a few games that were in contention here. Any Simpsons hit and run enjoyers in chat? That GIF on Twitter is the worst GIF of all time. What GIF? The hand reaching out. What's wrong with that? I'm assuming you're talking about my announcement tweet of the stream. Anyone played Simpsons Hit and Run? Simpsons Hit and Run's fucking great. It's one of the best video games of like an existing property, like ever. It's such a genuinely, like, actually like passionate and well realized game in the Simpsons universe. Yeah, the last mission of Hit and Run taken me 3 hours. I don't remember that. I know the last level. I remember the last level being like a Halloween thing, right? It's like a Halloween theme thing. Hit and Run's fucking cool. It's also got a great soundtrack. By the way, listen to Simpsons Hit and Run soundtrack when you get a chance. Actually, like a genuinely great OST. This game was also really charming. Like, all the voice actors are there. It's a funny game. You can buy all these silly costumes. You can dress up like fucking Radioactive Man, and Homer can be a chef, I think. And you can just run up to everyone and kick people. That's the biggest thing I remember about Simpsons Hit and Run. It's just kicking everyone, just running up to fucking Mayor Quimby and fucking kicking his leg out, and running up to Maud Flanders and just fucking kicking her over. I used to bully the shit out of, I think it's Ralph Wiggum. I used to bully the piss out of Ralph Wiggum. Kick him over on the floor, run him over. Fuck it, right? Yeah, it's the Simpsons GTA, but it's like so much better than the Simpsons GTA would ever have been if you gave it to like any other developer. Yeah, great game. Love some. You know what was the big roadblock for me? There's a mission in Bart's level, which is the second level in the game. I think it's called Monkey See, Monkey Do, where you have to drive around the town collecting a bunch of monkeys that I think have escaped from the zoo. And it's got this really silly song, a bit like the Pizza Man song from Spider-Man. And it was really hard. It was really hard to get around the town and collect all these monkeys in one go. But then the mission after that, the one where you play as Lisa, is probably the best mission in the game, or level, sorry. It's where you're at a part of Springfield that isn't shown off in the TV, in the show a lot. And it's like evening, and you've got like this orange skyline. It's actually a really like gorgeous looking level, even for like 2004, whenever this game came out. You're like right by like the sea, and there's like rivers and docks. There's a huge boat, and the sea captain's there. And comic book guys, shoppers in this map as well. And yeah, just reminiscing. But Simpsons Hit and Run is a genuinely great game. Great game. And again, like, definitely one of the best games ever made of like a licensed property, you know? Whoops, 37. Thirty-seven. I can see 1, 2, 3 games. I know what the next 3 games are. It's just what order I put them in. But I'm gonna say, yeah. I'm not like a fighting game guy. I really don't. I don't care much for fighting games. I see the appeal in them. But even though I played Smash competitively however long, that's because that's Smash, you know. Not a lot of them do not much for me, but Tekken is like genuinely great fun even when you're a casual like myself. Tekken's just great, like the sound effects are so satisfying that even when you hit someone while not knowing what you're fucking doing, it feels really good. It toes this amazing line between being really edgy and having a bunch of edgy characters like Heihachi and Jin and Kazuya, and being really fucking silly, because you can go online, and this is what I used to do in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 a lot. You go online with Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and you've got Kazuya who's got like a scar down his face and a red eye, and you could just put like a fucking dinosaur head on him and have him wearing a fucking Transformers outfit and just fight people online looking like that. You know, fucking Heihachi in a chef's outfit, in a chef's hat, and there's all these silly characters. This Tekken Tag Tournament 2 has Roger Jr. in it, which is a character who is a boxing kangaroo. But the boxing kangaroo also has a Joey in its pouch that also has boxing gloves on. And on account of being called Roger Jr., that means the actual fighter is technically the baby kangaroo, because he's the one doing the most of the punching. And obviously, male kangaroos, I don't think, raise Joeys in their pouches, right? I think that's how it works. So, there's also Alex, who's literally just a fucking lizard. There's just a character in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 called Alex, who's just a giant lizard. My combo back in the day was I used to play Bob, who's the big, huge, fat guy, and Roger Jr. That was my team. And Tekken Tag Tournament 2 is just fun. There's a ton of characters. There's a huge roster, a lot of stages, great music, great online, tons of customization, so many customization options for your characters. And when you got enough wins of characters, you'd get like a really cool, like unique character portraits that you could take online and make yourself like a MOBA does, like the kind of thing a MOBA does, you know. Really great online functionality this game. And even as a total casual, I had great fun playing this online and like winning some matches. We were just kind of button mashing and having a very general understanding. You know, I don't remember what rank I got to, but I did alright being a total casual. Tekken's cool. I just like Tekken. And I also played Tekken 3 growing up as a kid, but I was too young to really appreciate how good that game was at the time. You know, but if Tekken Tag Tournament 2 wasn't here, then Tekken 3 would be here. I know Tekken 3 is like most people's favourite Tekken game. If you can believe it, only 2 spots above the Simpsons Hit and Run is Saints Row 2. Did I delete Tekken Tag Tournament? No, I didn't. And where's Saints Row 2? Saints Row 2, if you don't know, Saints Row, it's basically like a competitor to GTA. Just a company, Volition, they made their own GTA games, and they were shockingly good. Saints Row 2 is a lot of things. It looks really fucking good for its time. I think it's like 2005, 2006 game. It looked way better than any GTA that had come out. It had like more satisfying brawling, if you want to call it that. Like when you hit someone in GTA, it's like it looks really silly, and they just has like no force behind it, and they just kind of flop to the ground. When you hit someone in Saints Row, it's like crunchy. It feels like something out of like a 3D fighter, and you can do some pretty funny shit to them. You can stomp all over people, and you can be pretty violent and pretty brutal. Game had a great soundtrack, like Karma Chameleon. I remember being on the radio in the cars. It was just GTA, but really good, you know. Had a pretty good story where there's all these factions running around. You've got to deal with all the factions one by one, and your buddy Gat, his wife gets decapitated by one of them. It's pretty metal. There's a gang called the Ronin, who are like definitely not Japanese samurai, but they are Japanese samurai. And one of them legitimately fucking decapitates your friend's wife in front of him. Crazy. It has all the stuff that makes GTA good. It has cheat codes. You can get rocket launchers and helicopters, and it's got a huge world, and it's good. And after Saints Row 2, they kind of took it in a different direction. Saints Row 3 and 4 are kind of more like superhero simulators. Was it Silax or Silax? I think it was Silax, wasn't it? Hello, Silax. Yeah, it kind of went in a different direction that I didn't like as much. I remember playing Saints Row 3 and being a bit disappointed because Saints Row 2 was fine. And I didn't see any reason. I guess they didn't want to directly compete with GTA as much anymore, which makes sense because how the fuck do you compete with GTA? But they were doing fine with Saints Row 2. And Saints Row 2 is very goofy and silly, and it gave you like superpowers and stuff. And then Saints Row 4, you become like the President of the United States and whatnot. 35 is a game... It's another game that I finished this year, actually. I started streaming it, but I could not finish it while on stream, I don't think. It was too intensive. There was too much reading going on. Yeah, Disco Elysium, I could not finish while I was on stream because it was too much reading, but it is a really cool game. I think Disco Elysium is has like some kind of accolade to its name, like it's the most awarded game in like Game Awards history or something. It's a detective RPG where there's no combat, and there's a system in the game basically where your brain functions and all your inner emotions talk to you like they're characters. Midway through dialogue. It's cool. I watched a GDC or Game Design Conference talk with the guy who made it, and he was basically saying like, hey, we came up with this system in Disco Elysium where your emotions and your brain functions talk to you and basically give you like subconscious information, and this is a call to all other game developers. We want you to steal this. He was like, please steal this from us. Please, other games use this. Because we think it's so brilliant, and he's right. It is brilliant. It's really good. The main guy who made Disco Elysium was actually an author. He was like basically, I don't want to say he was a failed author because that sounds bad, but he was an author whose books didn't do so well, and he basically got like depressed, and he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna make a game instead. And then he made basically one of the biggest cult classics of like the last 5 years, maybe one of the biggest cult classics of the last 10 years, and it is a really good game. In terms of pure quality, it should probably go higher than this. Disco Elysium, on account of being very wordy, I said I couldn't finish. It is better played alone, yes, definitely, because that's the thing. There's so much world building and lore and information to take in that it gets a bit overwhelming. If I play Pathologic 2, I haven't. I am interested though. I might consider it, definitely. I don't generally. That's the thing. I don't generally have a lot of patience for games, and that's why I'm so impressed by Disco Elysium, because there's a lot of fucking reading to be done. There's a lot of reading, and you probably shouldn't expect to be able to take everything in on your first playthrough because you just probably won't. But yeah, it centers around. There's like a murder that happened in the main location, and you're getting to the bottom of that, but it turns into way more than that. Kind of turns into a whole big thing, and I can't really talk much about the story without spoiling it, but I'll say that it definitely goes to some very interesting places. So, yeah. I think Disco Elysium, fun fact, that site backlogged that I used to basically like document my reviews of games, I think Disco Elysium is like one of the all-time highest rated games on that whole site right now, which is pretty crazy. Anyway, here's another game I finished this year. Whoops. It's Mass Effect 2. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Mass Effect, right? When people talk about Mass Effect being really good and how good Mass Effect is, they mean Mass Effect 2. Okay? Mass Effect 1 has not aged well, and Mass Effect 3 sucks. There. That's just the truth. I finished Mass Effect 2 and was like, I'm invested. I'm definitely going to see Mass Effect 3 through to the end. And I sold Mass Effect Legendary Edition yesterday before even finishing Mass Effect 3 because I thought it was so fucking lame. I'm trying not to make this about Mass Effect 3, but I just thought that game sucked. Like, it does nothing to improve on anything Mass Effect 2 did. The combat is not better. There's less companions. Oh, shit! Good old Jimmy G. Get the fuck out of your what? What was that last word? I'm sorry, I can't read that last word because of the white background. But thank you very much for the $10 donation. I really appreciate that. That does help a lot for the inevitable move. Anything anyone can give is really, really helpful. Yeah, Mass Effect 3 does literally nothing to improve on Mass Effect 2. The gunplay is not better. The story and dialogue is like a bit of a step down. There's less companions. The UI and menus are ugly as sin. And you're just doing the same shit. Mass Effect 2 is such a huge step up from Mass Effect 1 that even though you start to realise out my house, oh thank you, August 16th baby, Mass Effect 2 like is very, you realise this after playing them enough. The Mass Effect games have like a rhythm, right? It's like go back to your base, talk to your companions, do the dialogue options, land on a planet, do a combat section, and then get a bit of story progression, right? Mass Effect 2 can get away with that because every element of that is improved from Mass Effect 1. The combat is better, there's more abilities, the UI and menus is sleeker, the characters are more fleshed out, there's more possibilities for relationships and stuff. And Mass Effect 3 just does nothing to improve on that. So when in Mass Effect 3, whenever you land on a planet, you're like, well, I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to land on this planet, shoot through a bunch of guys with really lame, uninspired shooting, and then there will be a bit of a story development. That was okay in Mass Effect 2 because it just wasn't old yet, right? But 3 didn't do anything to build on it. I've made this about 3. I said I wasn't going to make this about 3. Where's Simpsons in run? Mass Effect 2 is great. I don't know what to say. It's just all the characters are more interesting. It's crazy how much of an improvement it is over Mass Effect 1 in only 3 years. Weird question, but if someone wanted to buy Mass Effect 2, what would be a fair price for it? Probably like 10-15 quid. It's not hard to come by, I don't think. Obviously there's the Legendary Edition, but I don't think 1 and 3 are very good. And then there's the suicide mission at the end of Mass Effect 2, which I don't want to talk about too much to avoid risking spoilers. But it's very tense. It got me really invested. It got my heart going a little bit. I can't remember the last time that like a video game got my heart going from its story. There's one other game on this list that I can think of that did that. Yeah, the suicide mission is really good. It's surprisingly complex because you have to like allocate and delegate people to certain roles, and your decisions genuinely really do matter. You can actually like doom some of your party members without realizing it, which does make it very tense. You know, there's real consequences. It's a very simple story because the story is basically recruit people for the suicide mission, but it's really well told. All the characters are interesting and likable. Yeah, it was cool. It's cool. Mass Effect 3 sucks. Okay, this might surprise some people. I assume people will want an explanation on this. Yes! Super Mario Sunshine is my favourite 3D Mario. I think Galaxy and 64 are better games, but I like Sunshine the most. I really, really love Delfino Isle as a setting, and I love how consistent it is. Like the fact that you can see, I think it's Pinner Park from like most of the levels in the game, and you can see Rico Harbor, I think, from other levels in the game, is a really fucking cool thing that Mario games don't really do. And yeah, Sunshine and Odyssey are the two games in which Mario controls the best and has like the coolest moveset, right? But the difference between Sunshine and Odyssey is that it feels like Sunshine is actually built around Mario's cool moveset. You have a cool moveset in Sunshine, and you can use it, and you are required to use it to like progress through the level, and there's real opportunities to sequence break and whatnot. And there's opportunities to sequence break in Odyssey, but so many of the levels in Odyssey are so flat, and you're doing so much dumb shit in Odyssey, like fucking doing fishing and doing fucking block puzzles and solving fucking jigsaw puzzles for like collectibles. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of dumb shit in Mario Sunshine too, like the pachinko machine and the sandbird and all that. But moment to moment, when you're just moving through a level in Sunshine, it's always cool. It's always fucking cool. Especially the first half of Sunshine is so much better than the second half of Sunshine, right? Like the first, I'd say, up to Pinner Park, all the levels are amazing. Maybe not the beach, maybe not Gelato Beach, but Bianco Hills, Rico Harbor in particular, and Pina Park, and also Noki Bay are like amazing examples of levels that are clearly built around Mario having a dope as fuck moveset. There's so much room for expression in the movement in those levels. How many levels are built with that many platforms and that kind of climbing frame-like structure in Odyssey? New Donk City? What else? Maybe the Bowser one? Maybe the Lost Kingdom? I don't know. There's so, like I said, there's so many flat levels where there's nothing to really do in Odyssey. So I will say that I do actually think Sunshine is outright better than Odyssey. People can fight me on that, but yeah, I like Sunshine a lot. Flood is an interesting one, right? I know Flood is really divisive. On one hand, Flood kind of trivializes the whole game, because whenever you fuck up a platforming challenge, you can just use your jetpack to like save yourself. But at the same time, Flood enables so much cool shit and so much cool movement in that game. Like, it's just fun to like squirt the water in front of you with Flood and then fucking slide on your belly all throughout Delfino Plaza, isn't it? Right? And Delfino Plaza is like maybe the best hub world in any game ever. Fucking sick. Love it. The turbo nozzle, yeah. So Flood, yes, does kind of trivialize the game, but it also lets you do a lot of cool shit. And I'd rather that than walk around as a fucking Goomba for 5 minutes. Or play Odyssey and put sunglasses on to see an invisible walkway that I'll walk along in a straight line for a collectible. Sunshine's a mess, but it's a beautiful mess. It's like my drunk friend who I really should take home, but I can't just stop. I just can't stop watching him like bump into walls and crash into shit. It's great. It's so entertaining. Okay. 32. I talked about Sunshine a lot there, sorry. We're getting down to like hard decisions now. Okay. I'll put Slay the Spy here. Slay the Spy is sick. It's on Steam right now. Big recommend. Remove it from the pool. Did I not remove? Oh. I'm the only person in the Odyssey hater gang who likes Sunshine. Sunshine is just Odyssey, but good. Yeah, Slay the Spy is a really fucking good game. Like, gameplay wise, it's so addictive. This is like it's a roguelike card game where you move through a map on like a board, and on the map you have a bunch of icons that represent different things like fights, treasure, resting places, question marks, which are my favourite. When you move to a question mark on the map, you usually get kind of like a D&D RPG style scenario kind of thrown at you, and you're basically made to make a choice. So for example, one of them is there's like an ancient looking book on a pedestal, and if you go up and read it, I can't really remember this one, you can try and read it to like gain a cool new power, but it will also do damage to you, and there's no guarantee of how much you'll have to read and how much damage you'll have to take, or even what the power will be. You know, it's like constant risk versus reward. I like Slay the Spy, but I have to admit I kind of got bored of it once I tried the different strategies and all the characters. But the question mark parts are awesome and the difficulty gets really intense. Yeah, and that's the thing, there's a lot of different strategies you can do in Slay the Spy. There's so much freedom in your build. There's 4 characters in the game, and it feels like all of them have like at least like 6 or 7 different kind of destinations that the deck can end up at. Especially when you factor in relics, which are these like collectible items that give you like a passive buff. And they're often randomized, and part of the game is just like accepting all the random shit you get thrown at you and kind of just going with the flow. But also you get to pick a card out of a choice of 3 cards every time you win a fight. And so you can still, and you can buy stuff from the merchant. So there is like definitely an element of agency over it. It's really addictive. It's really fucking addictive. It's just a really good game. I don't know what more to say. It's just a really fun roguelike card game. And I would quite bigly recommend it. It's cheap on Steam. It's not hard to get into at all. It will sink its claws into you. I played about 7 hours, I think, on my first day. That's what it did to me. Alright. 31. There's a couple kind of popping out at me for 31. But I want to make sure I'm not like missing one, you know? I don't feel like I'm missing an obvious one that I should definitely put on there just yet. Obviously, as I say, there are some here that aren't going to go on at all, because I've put 66 games down. Okay. One of the most underrated games ever made. Christ, I wish Rare would make stuff like this again. Almost no one is going to have played this game, and that's fine. I understand that. Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, man. Viva Pinata, the Viva Pinata games are really fun. They're a bit like, I don't know what to compare them to. If you've ever played like Zoo Tycoon, I guess it's a bit like that. God, dude, these games were fucking gorgeous for their time. Like, this game came out 2008 and still looks amazing today. The art style is just brilliant. It's such a British game, even though it's about piñatas, which are Mexican. Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise is the kind of game that only Rare could make. Because Rare make colourful, fun stuff that's interesting and different, and that's exactly what Viva Pinata is. It reminds me, you know what reminded me of this? Bug Snacks. The fact that Bug Snacks was a PS5 launch title is kind of crazy when you think about it, right? A lot of people were laughing at it, making memes about it. Look at this fucking stupid bug game. But that's the kind of shit we need more of, you know? Like shit that's genuinely different. It's like that. It just feels like games like this aren't made anymore. It's like a garden simulator where you like decorate your garden or like manage it by like making ponds and digging up dirt and like digging up lakes and stuff, and putting down certain kind of food to attract rarer and rarer species of piñata to your garden. But even beyond that, there's quite a lot of depth, because there are certain species of piñata, like the cat and dog one, for example, that really don't like each other. And if you try and have the cat and dog together, the dog will fucking kill the cat. Don't have the cat and dog together. Some of them also can change. So there's this thing called the taffly. Every piñata's name is like a pun based on a certain kind of sweet. So it's a fly, but it's also taffy. That's the... But if you feed the taffly, I think it's like chili powder or something, he turns into like a fucking fire-breathing fucking dragonfly. Or there's a duck, and if you give the duck a gooseberry, he turns into a goose. And I love that shit. I love it. My favourite... Hang on, there's this one piñata that fucking melts my heart. He's the cutest piñata in the world. Oh, this picture doesn't really do him justice. The crocodile in game, I love him. Look at him. I love him so much. He is my son. I've tried to find like a good quality... No one's played the game, so no one's got like good quality in-game images. Look at how fucking nice this game looks, dude. Obviously you can put like fences up and stuff and whatnot. Look at how fucking gorgeous it is. Look! Look! It's unreal, right? This is 2008. Anyway, Crocodile is really cute, and he's my favourite piñata. He's my piñata sona. I would be a crocodile if I was in Viva Pinata. Genuinely, Viva Pinata is part of the reason I'm getting Xbox. Because it's on Rare Replay, you can just get it. There's like, Xbox emulators don't really exist. So if you want to play Viva Pinata, you kind of have to get an Xbox. And I genuinely, I'm definitely, absolutely 1000% when I get an Xbox, doing a world's worst review of Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise. And I will put like everything into it. I genuinely would want to make that video like one of the best things I've ever done. I want the Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise video, whatever I do on it, to be like my magnum opus. I want to make the best fucking video of Viva Pinata that's on the whole internet. I will go whole hog on that, because I love that game, and really underrated. Love it. Love Viva Pinata. It's just a great chill out game, beautiful music, beautiful soundtrack. A lot of people associate Grant Kirkhope with like silly, farty sounding music from Banjo, but that man is a composer. You know, like some of the orchestral pieces that play in Viva Pinata are so beautiful and honestly like really sad sometimes, but in like a beautiful way. Here's another classic that I played a lot during the Xbox 360 era. Left 4 Dead, baby. I didn't put the colon after that. Left 4 Dead. Most people have played Left 4 Dead, right? Grant Kirkhope's music makes me... It's not Grant Kirkhope, it's David Wise that I do that segment about. Left 4 Dead, I wrote a review on this on Backlogged just the other day. Left 4 Dead is simultaneously a really silly, stupid, dumb, goofy arcade-style shooter where you're just mowing down zombies and there's not even iron sights in your guns. You can't aim down the sights. It's not complex, it's not deep. But it's also got a ton of little touches that makes it like not only endlessly replayable, but also like really tense. I don't know if you guys know, but Left 4 Dead has this thing called the AI director. And basically there's an AI in the game that monitors your progress. And if you're doing really well, I'll get into why not Left 4 Dead 2 in just a minute. If you're doing really well in Left 4 Dead or Left 4 Dead 2, then the AI director will intentionally make the game harder for you. It will spawn in more tanks, which are the hardest enemy in the game. It will activate more hordes spontaneously, and it will spawn in more special infected. On the flip side, if it can tell that you're not having a good time and you're struggling, it will ease off a little bit, pump the brakes, and kind of let you make a bit more progress. It's really fascinating. The whole time you're playing Left 4 Dead, you almost feel like you're being watched, right? And it adds this really weird sense of tension to it. And Left 4 Dead has such iconic sound design and such iconic sounds that adds to this tension. So every single special infected in the game, I think there's like 6 of them. Oh, some Viva Pinata music playing, by the way. You should get a feel for how gorgeous this music is. Yeah. So, for example, there's a special infected called the Hunter. And what it does, it makes these horrible shrieking noises. And it will leap onto a party member. There's always 4 party members. Because it's like a 4-player co-op shooter. It will leap onto a party member and basically like rip them apart and like, you know, gouge pieces of them away. And while that party member is down, they lose control. There's nothing they can do until another party member gets the hunter off of them. And whenever a hunter is around or spawns, there's this really creepy little piano riff that plays. I wonder if I can get it up. Hang on a minute. Left 4 Dead Hunter piano? Oh, Pinal. Oh yeah, there's the little jingles here. Okay, I don't know what this is. Well, that is the sound that plays when a boomer is nearby. Almost exactly. Right, I'm going to try and find the hunter one as well. There you go. I don't know why this dude's sat here looking like that, but... That's the sound the hunter makes. I'm just in a bit of educational Left 4 Dead content. The sound design is so iconic. You know what I mean? Like, these sounds, the way the game works with sound is it makes you dread things before you even see them. It lets you know a hunter is near, even if you're not dealing with it yet. A boomer is near. A spitter or whatever. Spitters aren't actually in Left 4 Dead 1. The witch. I'm sure you guys have heard about the witch. The witch is an enemy. She's like super powerful and she can basically one-shot you. And you often bump into her crying. Hang on, you have to hear the witch music. There's no way you haven't heard the witch music, right? It's like iconically freaky. This plays whenever a witch is nearby. And there's this little crying woman, creepy crying woman with her back to you. And the closer you get to her, the louder this gets. And you basically have to sneak past her. You have to sneak past her without disturbing her, otherwise she flies into a rage and basically party wipes you. It's so fucking tense. It's so scary. The game just has an atmosphere. It has a real sense of dread that it embeds in you. You know? which is funny because it's also a really silly game where the characters say a lot of silly stuff, and you can, you know, there is an enemy who is called the Boomer, who's literally a fat guy who pukes on you. I've gushed about Left 4 Dead sound design a lot because it's just incredible, and it's like a huge part of the reason that the game is as good as it is. Because it just, like I say, it really, even if it's not a complicated game or a deep game, it has a lot of little touches that make it like really enjoyable. And the AI director makes it like almost endlessly replayable, because no one playthrough is going to be the same. You know, it's always going to feel different. This game might have surprised you with how high it's made it so far. But if you haven't played Mario Hoops 3-on-3, you simply wouldn't understand. This game positively slaps. This game goes off. Mario Hoops 3-on-3, I think the Mario spin-off games across the board are like way better than main series Mario. I don't think any Mario platformer has ever really blown me away. I feel like most games have done what Mario platformers have done, just way better. Like Donkey Kong, Rayman, Celeste, Shovel Knight are all better 2D platformers than any Mario game. And there's maybe 3D. Anyway, Hoops 3-on-3 is sick. Most Mario sports games are kind of sick. This is the square crossover nobody expected. Black Mage, White Mage, and some kind of ninja from Final Fantasy, and Moogle, the Moogle from Final Fantasy, are just in this game, just shooting hoops. The big thing I remember of this game, so this is on the DS, right? Every character has their own like special shot where they do some kind of crazy dunk, and in order to do it, you have to like tap on the DS screen with the stylus a certain symbol that represents them. And some are like way easier than others. Like, so for Waluigi's, for some reason, I think you have to do an R. And so you just go like bam, 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 bam. And bam, you've done like your special shot. Whereas like Moogle or Mario, I think, have M's. So you need to go like bam, 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 bam. And in the middle of the game, that's really hard, right? But the special shots have like these really fucking cool animations where like the screen like filters a different color and you get like explosion effects off the ball and they start dribbling. It's really fucking cool. I never played Mario Strikers, but I imagine it's a lot like the basketball version of Mario Strikers. Just a really fun game, great on the DS. The maps were really cool. You go to a lot of different cool locations. You end up one of the courts, like these are all basketball courts, right? But one of them's on a fucking airship where you're playing against the Final Fantasy characters. You're like playing basketball against the Final Fantasy characters on a fucking airship. There's one where like Bowser Jr. for whatever reason has a big casino and you're playing basketball in a casino. There's like an ice one. There's an underwater one. It has a great soundtrack. Yeah, great game. Just an excellent fun like kind of arcadey sports game with a lot of content. Great presentation. This is definitely my favourite Mario spin-off. Really enjoy Mario Hoops 3-on-3, and I'd big recommend it. It was on the Wii U Virtual Console, and it worked pretty well because you could use the Wii U gamepad like the DS and just tap the special things on there. I'm trying to think of who I mained. Who did I play? I remember I used a lot of. I had Bowser Jr. on my team a lot. I think I had like Bowser Jr. because you have like teams of 3, you know. So I had like Bowser Jr., Black Mage, and someone else. I feel like I used Moogle. Oh, you know what else? Fucking Cactar is in this game. The fucking cactus. He's like a really obscure, really hard to unlock unlockable, where you have to go specifically to the desert course and like hit a cactus with a basketball or some shit like that. It's very silly, very funny. Anyway, there's Mario Hoops 3-on-3. Oh, it's getting tough now. It is actually starting to get quite tough. I'm gonna rip this off and get this out there. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time and Darkness. I've talked about these games a lot when talking about super underrated games. Is this playlist on shuffle? It should be on shuffle. It's not on shuffle, so it's just been playing. I should have shuffled it, my bad. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this game that I already haven't. It's got like pretty fun core gameplay of like dungeon crawling, like RPG mechanics. But it also has like a shockingly mature and complex and interesting story that takes you as a protagonist to some pretty interesting places. This game genuinely gets quite emotional. There's tons of content in it. It will last you for a very long time. Tons of post game, a really nice, well realized world, great music, really nice art, and really nicely depicted locations and locales. Very atmospheric. This game definitely has like its own vibe. You know, you can definitely detect a lot of kind of similar instruments and musical techniques used throughout the soundtrack, and a fucking genuinely shocking plot twist that leads to like some really tense, nail-biting like dungeon crawls, where the whole time you're going through the dungeon you're wondering like what happens next in the plot, or like what did I just watch, what just happened like to the characters. And yeah, very subversive, shockingly complex and interesting. It's just really good. Good ass games. Very good. Again, I've talked about these games quite a lot in a few ways, so I think I don't really feel like there was much more I could say. And here's another game that's been... Does it go here? No, not yet. No. Skate 3, baby. Skate 3 fucking goes. That's your favourite mystery dungeon game, but would you recommend it as an entry point to the series? Yeah. Yeah, it's not like a direct sequel to the original mystery dungeons, so you don't need to have played them to like get it or anything. You know? I don't think. I'm pretty sure. Skate 3, I'm not like a skateboarding guy. I missed out on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater growing up. Skate 3 is sick as fuck. It's like an open world skateboarding game where you just skate around like a genuinely sick like urban map with like tons of different, there's like a university campus, there's like a street and a motorway, and like talk to different people, do different things, like do like photo shoots and capture like cool pictures of you doing cool skating shit. You know, the typical challenges of like skate through this thing and skate to this point. The biggest thing that everyone remembers from Skate 3 is the Hall of Meat. If you don't know what the Hall of Meat is, the Hall of Meat is a series of challenges in Skate 3 where you're encouraged to break as many bones as humanly possible in like a limited amount of time. And this often involves allowing you to like literally you don't even need your skateboard. You can just ditch the skateboard and just fucking jump off buildings. Just jump off buildings, just fucking dive head first into a rail, and when you splat you get like this x-ray effect showing you how many bones you broke and how successful you were. And there's like different moves, you know, there's like the spread eagle where you can like spread your entire body out and just fucking splat. You can fucking cannonball, you like control your character with like a physics system. It's great fun. If it sounds fun, it is fun. The Hall of Meat bits are definitely the best parts of the game. It's the part everyone remembers. But even when you're not doing the Hall of Meat, it's just fun. It does have a level editor, a very good in-depth level editor where you can do a lot of cool shit with it. You'll see in that video of the little girl with fairy wings kickflipping. Did she get silver at the Olympics? There was like a viral video of a girl dressed up as a fairy doing a kickflip on a skateboard like years ago. And I think the big story is that she just won silver for skateboarding at the Olympics, didn't she? Pretty cool. Yeah, Skate 3 is actually sick. It's got a great soundtrack as well. I always remember she's got the eyes of a panther. That one, and the subways are on it. Genuinely, I'm really excited for Skate 4, which might be next year. Skate 3 is great, even though I fucking hate EA. Skate 3 was really good. I gotta say, looking at the list, I do think I'm gonna have to like push everything down a spot. It's only just occurred to me that not everything in all of these columns is bold, and that's bothering me. Look, some of the numbers aren't bold. It's mismatched. Gotta fix that immediately. Anyone know like a simple way of like bringing all these down like one column or one row or whatever. Because I feel like there's a couple I've got to add like above, you know? I'm not good with the Google Sheets and whatnot. Okay, not a lot of people have played this game, but whatever. I did bold it, but okay. Oh, go on, play music. Thank you. Don't Starve Together is really good. It's like a multiplayer survival game. It's basically you have to not starve, right? And it has like a season system, so you kind of spawn into this world and it goes through different seasons. And so you always start in autumn, and autumn's nice and easy. There's a lot of trees that grow fruit and stuff, and there's a lot of like carrots and other like wildlife laying around. And then about 20 in-game days, an in-game day would be about 10 minutes. About 20 in-game days after you start, it becomes winter. And winter is a fucking nightmare hellscape. Winter is terrifying. Almost all of your natural food resources go away. A bunch of evil walruses who blow darts at you spawn into the world. And also there's this thing called the deer clops, which is basically like a roaming boss that is guaranteed to spawn in on your location sometime during winter and kill you and destroy your entire camp and base if you're not prepared for it. You like have to know how to fight. And so the first 20 days of most conventional run are like gathering resources for winter. You know, like you're finding beefalo, which are basically buffalo, and like fencing them in near you and breeding them and harvesting them for fur to give you warmth and stuff, because you also need to watch your temperature during winter, which is part of why it's such a fucking nightmare, because you can't just sit by the campfire all day. You have to go out and hunt for food eventually, so you need to like make jackets out of wool and stuff. And it's a really it's got a really unique kind of style. It's a bit Tim Burton-ish, I'd say, and usually I'm not really into that kind of stuff. I'm not really into the whole Tim Burton style, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different characters that all have like their own different unique abilities. Like this is one character who I usually play when it's not modded, called Woody, and he has like an axe that never breaks. Usually you have to craft equipment like that, like axes and stuff, a bit like Minecraft, but Woody spawns with an unbreakable axe. However, he also eats wood, because if you have like a wood meter, and if you don't keep your wood meter satisfied, or if you chop too much wood without taking a break and eating wood, you transform into a werebeaver and turn into like a giant beaver, and you have like increased attack damage and stuff, and you're a bit beefier, but you also have a sanity meter, and when you're the werebeaver, your sanity meter goes down like big time, and you have to eat a lot more to sustain yourself. Silly kind of shit like that, you know. The game's got like a silly sense of humor like that. It's great. If you play it with a friend, it's a great game to just chill out with, see how long you can survive for. It's a nice bonding game. It's a good game to really get to know someone too. Candy Klutz, congratulations on your amazing taste. I'd recommend it. A lot of fun. I'm trying to remember what my record is, how many days we survived. Me and a friend got to like over 100 days, I remember. And we were pretty pleased with that, I think. Let's Don't Starve Together. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut and paste these back up to the top just for now, and we'll see what we can do later. This is 25. Is this the top half then? We're about to enter like the top half. Oh, excitement. Okay, then it seems like a good place to put a game that I am very conflicted on. I never know how to feel about Hearthstone, or how to talk about it. You know? Like, what happens when just one person dies? If you're in like a multi-person server, then the person who dies, their ghost will... The fact that they are a ghost will slowly drain the sanity of everyone else in the party. So you need to find another way. You need to find a way to resurrect them. Which there are touchstones around the map where you, as a ghost, can float to revive yourself. But everyone can only use the same touchstone once. Otherwise, you have to craft this thing called a something heart out of like pretty hard to get materials. So yeah, it's a real detriment to the party if someone dies and you've got to like try and get them back to life as soon as possible. And if you'll die at the same time, then that's it. Game over. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Jam. Yeah, Hearthstone, right, here's the thing. Hearthstone is a good game, but it's also one of those like games as a service, live service games, and I hate games like that. And there's so much bullshit that always comes with a model like that, right? Like monetization, and I mean, it's Blizzard, it's fucking Activision Blizzard, who are a scummy company. And what's sad is that the Hearthstone devs are really nice people, from my experience. The Hearthstone devs are good people who just want to make a good game, but they're kind of bound by like Blizzard's laws and the way they operate. Hearthstone's a card game, you know, there's a lot of monetization to get out of that, buying cards and whatnot with real life money, or buying arena runs, which is a mode where you see how many wins you can get in a row to earn prizes. You know, buying the new expansions, which are new cards, buying the single player adventures, which they used to do. They've slowly but surely gotten better with this stuff and gotten quite a lot more consumer friendly. They give stuff away for free a lot more nowadays. There's less need to spend real life money in Hearthstone than ever before because there's this achievement system they added. But it's definitely still an easy way to get ahead. You know, you definitely can do free to play. It will just be slow. The power creep is killer too. And also, yeah, Hearthstone's balancing also used to be horrendous. It's genuinely the game. Part of the reason it's as high as it is because the game has really improved a lot in the past few years. A new kind of team took over, or at least a lot of new people came into the dev team and made it less dependent on monetization. They've sorted the balance. They've added a lot of cool stuff. There's a completely free to play game mode called Battlegrounds, which is like auto chess. As if you've played auto chess before, but that's really fun. But in Battlegrounds, which is the auto chess mode, you pick a hero to play as, and they will have special abilities. If you buy the Tavern Pass, instead of getting to choose between one of 2 heroes, you get to choose between one of 4 heroes. So people who want to get as good at Battlegrounds as they possibly can really need to buy that Tavern Pass so they have the highest possible chance of being offered the best heroes, right? You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Like, for most people, using money is not necessary, but it's the model. It's the way the model is that it kind of, it boxes you in. You know what I mean? But the core gameplay of like the card game is really fun. It's a really well presented card game with great music, excellent music. I use a lot of the music in my videos because it perfectly fits the vibe of what most of my videos are going for. Literally every single card in the game has like a recorded voice line for both when you play it and when you attack with it, which is really impressive. And even things that aren't actually technically cards. I'll give you an example. There's a card that you summon, and part of the card's effect is that it also summons a dog companion that like it's basically like another minion. It's like you summoned another card, only it isn't. And if somehow through the effect of another card they bounce that dog minion back to your hand and it becomes a card that you can play, that dog still has a voice line. It still has a noise that it makes when you play it down because they planned for that. They planned for tokens attached to cards that aren't actually cards to be put back to your hand and for you to have to play them. And they recorded voice lines for that as well. And that's really fucking impressive. That's really fucking cool. You know, little touches like that are really neat. It does have a lot of charm, has a great sense of humour. There's a lot to like about Hearthstone fundamentally as a game. Really well presented. You know, really well animated. Most cards have like an animation, or at least the legendary ones do. But because of the way it is, because of the model, you know, it's one of those games as a service games, and they always have a lot of bullshit attached to them. So, okay. Here's a game that maybe people think should have gone up quite a long time before. But it's Mario Kart 7. Mario Kart 7 is kind of my stand-in for a Mario Kart game here. I gotta delete Mario Kart 7. Yeah, I think Mario Kart 7 is just my favourite Mario Kart. What's up, Bat Mabel? Congratulations, your great taste. Mario Kart is another one of those franchises that I kind of think might be best portable. I don't know. Mario Kart 7 doesn't really do anything new or crazy for the series, right? Like the big kind of pull-in feature for this one is the air glider and that you can go underwater. And to be honest, they don't actually really add much. Yeah, 7 I think is the one that gave Waluigi the boot. The roster's a bit weird. I think this is the one that has the Honey Queen from Super Mario Galaxy in it. I think the fucking bee from Mario Galaxy is in this one. But I don't know. I just have a lot of fond memories of it. The tracks are really good. The music's really good. The driving feels really great on 3DS. It feels like a really refined Mario Kart game with no gimmicks and a bunch of sick tracks. Wiggler. Wiggler is a character. I fucking loved Wiggler, dude. I mained Wiggler. I remember I used to play Wiggler. Yeah, you fucking Wiggler's in this game. I'm trying to think. There's like the Piranha Plant slide track that's really good. There's like a bizarre one that's set in the desert. I'd have to look up Mario Kart 7 tracks, but I remember there being a lot of bangers. And 8, I don't know. 8 I do like 8. Don't get me wrong. I wish I could honestly, I think I never got 8 Deluxe, so I had 8 on the Wii U, and I didn't play my Wii U a lot for obvious reasons. Yeah, the Shy Guy Bazaar. Shy Guy Bazaar was a sick track. A lot of sick tracks in 7. There's also a lot of tracks in 8 that I don't like. What's it? Fucking Dry Bones Desert or something. And I didn't like Cloud Top Cruise. Don't know if that's controversial. I don't know what to say. I just think 7 is really underrated, and I had more good times with it. 8 might be better, but I have a lot of fondness in my heart for 7. I wish I could kind of articulate it a bit more. I just think also the whole zero gravity thing feels like a gimmick in 8, whereas 7 feels pretty devoid of gimmicks. It's just a good ass Mario Kart game, you know? Right, here's one. Least of the Painful is a game that I would struggle to call fun. It's kind of not fun a lot of the time. It's funny. It's a fucking hilarious game. I don't think a game has ever given me... Oh, DK Jungle in Mario Kart 7. Yes, that's a really good one. I used to love that. Least of the Painful might have given me more tonal whiplash than I've ever gotten in any game, because it's simultaneously fucking hilarious and so funny, and probably the most disturbing game I've ever played. It goes to some very dark, horrible places of molestation and rape and abuse and murder and whatnot. It's very much inspired by Earthbound and Mother. It's that kind of like, it's a JRPG kind of style game, where you have like however many characters in a party, and it's turn-based and whatnot. That's kind of what the core gameplay is like. The premise is that it's a world where women have like, I can't remember why, but they've basically disappeared or like gone extinct. It's like a Mad Max kind of world where it's all just men. However, one of the characters discovers a young girl and basically has to try and like keep her a secret, and pretty much it's a flash of light. That's right. One of the main characters has to like keep her secret and keep her safe, because he knows that if like the rest of the men and the rest of the world discover her, very bad things will happen to her. But there's more to it than that. It's a bit deeper than that. Simultaneously, there's discussion of like, oh my god, this person will get raped if she's found out, and you know, all these horrible things will happen. And also there's like, for example, That's right, the creator cited Fist of the North Star as a direct inspiration. One of the bits that made me laugh the most is you're walking along like a straight line, and you can literally see an enemy with like a really fucked up like face, really blatantly hiding behind a bush, like so fucking ready to ambush you. And you can see him from like a mile away, and there's just nothing you can do about it. You just have to keep walking and like literally just like let him ambush you, and his face is so fucking stupid. There's also a bit, the game is intentionally punishing and it fucks with you a lot. There's a bit where there's like a huge mountain with a ladder that goes up it, and you go up to it and you go, oh, you know, part of the world, I'm going to explore, let's see what's up here. And it goes on, you literally climb for like about 2 minutes of solidly just holding up, and then you get to the top of the mountain and there's literally just a middle finger made out of stone, and that's it. That's literally it. Then you have to go all the way back down for about another 2 minutes, just holding down on the down key or whatever. It does shit like that to you. It just fucks with you for the sake of it, and it is very funny. But this game also messed me up. It gets very disturbing, does some messed up stuff, very harrowing, but very poignant. It's for stuff like that, and the fact that it's made an RPG Maker. It's a very primitively designed game that I don't know if I'd call it fun, but it's a hell of an experience. It's really something that you have to experience, I think, you know, and see for yourself to understand like what it really is and what it's like.